All right. Hi, guys. I am Lauren. I am one of the creators of Get Messy Art Journal, and I am here today hanging out with Mariah. And she is on our creative team this year, and she is one of our favorite creators. And so we are really excited to introduce you to her and to learn more about her art journaling process.
Hey everyone.
So, thank you guys so much for joining us. We are going to get started. A couple technical things. The recording will be sent out via email. So, if you are on the list for this specific webinar, you will get an email with the link. And you can rewatch this at any time. This video will be live on our page forever. So on our YouTube, it will be live forever. You can see it at any time. If you would like to hop on that list, it is linked down below in the comments. I mean, not in the comments, in the YouTube description. You can pop your email in there and you will get the replay. If you are having trouble with your video, we are using YouTube. So we do not have control over the video, but you can just refresh your screen and normally that will help. You can chat with us in the comments, ask any questions that you have of Mariah, and we'll make sure those get answered. I believe you have to have a YouTube account to chat, but that is like super simple. You just enter your email and you can create one. So we'd love to chat with you. If not, you're welcome to just watch and hang out, and that is perfectly fine. If you want to learn more about Get Messy, if you're not a member, you can just go to getmessyartjournal.com, and we would love to have you join us. So we are going to get started. If you have any questions, please let me know in the chat. I'll be managing that and watching that as Mariah is teaching us. So again, if you have questions for her that you want her to answer, please pop them into the chat and we will hang out over there. So say hello, let us know that you're here, and let us know if you're from Get Messy. If you're not from Get Messy, let us know where in the world you're from. I am in the UAE and Mariah's in Spain, so that's why this is kind of an odd time zone. So let us know where you are. Oh, Jessica's here. So that means East Coast is awake, maybe. But so say hello in the chat. And Mariah, will you just get started by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So yeah, I'm Mariah. I'm 26 years old. I live in Madrid, Spain, but I am American, as you can probably tell from my accent. So it's kind of a long story of how I ended up here. But yeah, so I lived in London the year before, like last year. I've been in Spain for about a year. And I've been in Get Messy for 2 years now. But I've kind of been making art for pretty much like my entire life. So my mom is an artist, and growing up, anytime I was bored, she'd basically just hand me like a paintbrush and be like, go make art. So I grew up kind of being creative, and I was an only child, so I kind of had to entertain myself. So I often turn to books and art. And so I remember, like, I think I made my first art journal when I was like 12 or 11, but I didn't know like it was an art journal. I don't know, started like drawing and gluing things down and writing random, I don't know, 12-year-old stuff. I don't know what 12-year-olds write about, but like, just random stuff about boys or whatever. And yeah, and I kind of continued doing that. And then in college, I stopped making art. I did it occasionally. And then a few years ago, I started Instagram because I wanted to motivate myself to get more into art making. I felt like there was like a creative process, like I was missing the creative process, because like during my day job, I'm a financial journalist, which is very numbers. It's a bit creative with like the writing and asking questions, but it's different. And I needed another outlet. I needed some kind of outlet. So I started just randomly creating like travel journals and different things. And then I was on Instagram, and Misty started following me, and she bought a zine that I made. And she kept posting about Get Messy, and I was like, oh, what is this? So I signed up for like, originally I was going to sign up for just a month, but that clearly didn't happen. And yeah, so here I am. And like this is actually one of my first pages I made with Get Messy. So this is the from this season of introspection, which was the first season that I did with Get Messy.
Awesome. I love that. I love that you don't have a full-time creative job, but that you've been creating forever and that you've been art journaling even before you knew what it was. I think so many of us do. I've always said that I think everyone has like a box of paper that they're hoarding, and that's essentially an art journal. All the like important things that you're keeping and that you love, like you've essentially, like everyone art journals, they keep important things to them, and maybe they don't necessarily have it in a notebook, or maybe they do, those like old school scrapbooks where you can just like slide stuff in, like before Project Life, essentially they were like the old school Project Life. So many people have those and they've got all kinds of neat things in there. And I think that art journaling is just a big compilation of our lives. And so I love that you've been doing that for so long and how you've incorporated that throughout your life and that you've turned to it as your creative outlet. One thing that Mariah is going to do with us at the end, so we're going to talk about her art journaling story. She's going to share some tips with us, and then she is going to create a page with us. So while you're listening, if you are at your art space and you want to create with us, go ahead and grab some paint, an old credit card or palette knife, some old book pages, some magazine pages, some glue, a pen or a stamps, whatever you like to letter with. And, of course, like scissors, glue, your art journal, all that kind of good stuff. So grab those items. Those are very general stash items that everyone should have, probably pretty close to them. And we will be creating together at the end. And so we can't wait to see your art and what you create. And so just like Mariah found Get Messy and got into our community from meeting other artists on Instagram, please share about Get Messy and share the pages that you're going to make with us today and the things that you learn from the Get Messy Art Journal hashtag. And you can use Get Messy Webinars. I think we have a hashtag for that, Get Messy Webinar. Any kind of paint. I think, Mariah, you're going to be using acrylic paint, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of my go-to. But yeah, you can use any kind. I mean, I think acrylic works the best, but like if you have watercolor in a tube, I think you can also use that.
Yeah, perfect. So there you go, Courtney. So grab some acrylic if you have it. All right. So, Mariah, tell us your creative process. Do you have a ritual that you always follow? Kind of how do you get from idea to final page? What's the process? Kind of what you do mentally and physically?
Okay. Well, yeah, so I have a full-time job, so creating, like, it's kind of, I don't really have a lot of time necessarily, so I can have to like find time. So a lot of times if I come up with an idea, I might be at work, or I might be like on the metro or something, or out with friends. And so normally I try and write it down. So I have like a bunch of Post-its everywhere. And I basically, if I write down an idea, if I have an idea for something, I write it down and I stick it with either the journal or on the page where I want to incorporate that idea. I don't have any specific rituals, I guess. Like I don't light a candle. I know some people like to light candles or kind of meditate or something before the art journal. I do like to like write in my actual like diary or journal rather before I create, to just kind of get my ideas down, and like if something's bothering me, then I like to just write it. But I don't always have to do that. And often, like honestly, like Instagram and like Get Messy, and also just taking classes really is kind of what inspires me. And sometimes when I don't know what to do, I literally just start gluing things down, and I just kind of see what happens. So yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no, I guess it's really difficult because I don't necessarily just like sit down and I create for like 5 hours or 3 hours. I'm like, I come home from work and I'm like, oh, I have 10 minutes before dinner. I'm gonna glue some stuff down, or like finish a page I started last night or something.
Oh, awesome. So you said that you do some journaling. Do you journal in your art journal, or do you have a separate journal that you journal in?
So both, like it kind of depends. Sometimes I'll do like secret journaling while I write down and then I cover it. But I actually do have my like a separate journal where it's not necessarily morning pages. Like I don't write every morning. I just kind of write when I just have something on my mind.
Yeah, yeah. I do the same thing. I'm not great at remembering to do morning pages every day, and I always do them when I'm like struggling. I'm like, if I just did this every day, it would be so much. My life would be so much easier and better. Um, so tell us what you do if you don't know. So you said you just start gluing things down. Like if you don't know what to make, what's your
Yeah.
go-to?
Yeah, sometimes I'll just start tearing things and putting them down and just kind of seeing what looks good. I tend to try and take um like classes. That really helps me. Right now I'm going through Kaylee's minimalist class. And also doing like the creative bug 30-day challenge. So I've been creating a lot lately because I have those two classes that I'm working through and they're really easy and simple to do. So finding that, but like if I'm not taking a class, sometimes, yeah, let's go through Instagram. I will just start writing. Sometimes I might just be like, oh, I want to do something with my Tombow markers, or I don't know, I really like this color of paint, and I just like start playing around. But a lot of times, I mean, I do have a specific idea, because like I said, I don't have the time to sit down and make all the time. So a lot of times I'll think about it like on my commute to work. So I write down, I have like a really long list of ideas. So not having an idea isn't always a problem with me. Sometimes I just don't feel like working on that one thing. And then that's when I'll like try and go to something else or work on a specific project. Um,
Yeah, we hear that a lot that people really struggle with having the time to make things. So how do you carve out time?
Um, I mean, you kind of have to just make it a priority. Like it's really important. It's not, I think of it as like, it's not that I want to make art. I need to make art. Like, obviously I want to make art, but there's something different. Like if I don't make art, if I go for like a few weeks without making art, I feel it. Like there's something missing. And I'm like, no, I need to make something. I need to put, even if it's awful, I just need to put paint on paper and yeah. And so so I prioritize that. And I'm really lucky because my husband is really supportive. And if I'm on weekends, I'm like, hey, I need a few hours to create. And then he does his own thing. And then I take that time. I mean, I don't have any kids or anything, so I'm lucky in that I don't have, I know people who have, our parents. I don't know how they do it because that's a lot. I really admire the women who are able to kind of create like Kaylee and Missy with families and everything. But yeah, and then like I said, like after work, sometimes I'll just come home and I work on it for like a few minutes a day. I don't worry about like, oh, I have to complete a page today. It's more like I just need to work on something, and you just have to make it a priority. And it's just something that not only do you need to want to do, but it's something that if you feel like you need to do it, you do it. So
Awesome. Yeah. So you said multiple really tangible steps that I want to call out for people in case you missed that. So she said that she thinks about it on the subway, like on her ride to work. She writes down her ideas to come back to later. She prioritizes it. She looks for those pockets of time, like on your weekends. She communicates what she needs to, her family. Yeah, I think you also said that you use Instagram kind of productively. So remember that when you're scrolling through Instagram, you can be finding inspiration. It could be considered some of your creative work time if you are, saving and screenshotting ideas and things that you have, but then you're translating them into your art. So those are really productive tips, Mariah. Those were really helpful. Thank you.
you're welcome.
And you mentioned even if you make a bad page, you still want to make it. So how do you deal with bad pages? Do you like throw them away? Do you share them on Instagram? Do you like make something else on top of them? Do you just not care? What do you do?
Uh, yeah, I don't know. It kind of depends on the page and how much I hate it. um, A lot of times, actually, I just gesso over it with like white gesso so I can kind of see what's underneath. Sometimes I like, yeah, I redo it. Sometimes I just staple them together, the pages together, so you can't see it. It kind of like it just depends. Um, I don't, I don't usually share them on Instagram. Um, maybe I'm like, I probably should, but I don't. I only like to share work I actually like on Instagram, um, which I think we all do. So, um, but yeah, and I guess like I know some people like to rip them out and create with them, but I have a really hard time ripping like my art out. I don't know. I don't. I maybe I'll do that one day, but I can't imagine like ripping up things. But I know some people like doing that. But so yeah, sometimes I just ignore it, and then sometimes I'll go back to it actually, and we'll see like, oh, actually, if I put this on, if I do this, if I can actually turn this into a really cool collage, or I can just paint or something. Um, then that will happen. Yeah, sometimes just like, letting it sit and not worrying about it, working on something else. And when I go back to it, I realize either one, I like it, or two, I get inspiration for what I should do to make it actually look good.
Oh yeah, the problem solving is a big piece of messing up, and then being able to figure out what to do differently or better next time. That's a really good point. So, what is your biggest struggle or barrier to creating, and how do you overcome that?
Um, so I guess the most obvious one is time for me, but I kind of already talked about kind of what I do for that. Um, but also lately, I think because I'm on the creative team, but especially because I have Instagram, and at first I used Instagram as like a motivation to actually create, but now it's it's becoming like I don't. Sometimes I feel like I create something just because like, oh, it's going to get a lot of likes, rather than creating for me, and that's not why I started art journaling. I started art journaling to create for me. So right now, kind of what I'm, I guess, struggling with, or what I'm trying to be healthier about is creating for me. And even when I create something that is like for a project or that I'm creating for Instagram, trying not to think about the fact that it's going to go on Instagram, and just trying to do stuff for me, and do what I need. So I actually started a project recently that I'm not going to share. It's just for me, and like I'm not putting it on Instagram, on my website, or anything. And it's just like it's like a safe space for me to just explore and get down thoughts and whatever I need, and to kind of like create safely. And so yeah, so that's something I've been struggling with, and we'll see. I mean, hopefully, I think like doing I only started doing that like a few weeks ago, so we'll see how it turns out. But I think that is really great to have like not worry, because when you post things on Instagram all the thing, if some things get a lot of likes and some things don't, and you start worrying about, oh, am I actually good? Why did this get a lot of likes? Why didn't that? Do people not like my work? Like, oh, this person has like 20,000 followers and I only have 1,000. Like, why is that? Like, but really you just have to think about like, you have to not think about those kinds of things, because what's important is why are you creating? Why are you making art? And really it should be about why you want to make it. It shouldn't be about what other people think and whether or not, I mean, art is subjective. Not everyone likes the same thing, so it doesn't matter if thousands of people like someone else's art and not yours, because it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you're happy with what you create.
That is some phenomenal advice. I think that Instagram is beautiful in the sense that it connects us and that we can find that community and connect over our art. But you're right, it really does take over, and it becomes more of like a mental game than an actual like art game. Yeah, so I would really encourage people to like go back and re-listen to what you just said, and yeah, share what you want to share. And those projects are really, really important, and that's what sets people apart. So if you do want to grow on Instagram, you do want to grow your artwork, like you have to find something that's for you, because people take notice of the unique things that are real more than we can all make a certain page that we know is going to get a lot of likes. So I love, love, love that you said that and you talked about that and that you're doing that for yourself, that is really awesome. And I think that leads perfectly into my next question, which is about how to transition from being a beginner to an expert or to intermediate, just kind of making that transition that between that gap. And I think one of the big things is what you said is, creating your own projects and doing things that are just for you. That is a very expert mentality. So how do you kind of bridge that gap?
Yeah, well, so it's funny because I don't actually consider myself an expert. Because like I'm always taking classes. I'm always like, I have an idea of what my sense of style is, but I'm always exploring and challenging it and being like, is this really my style? Maybe I should do this. Maybe this isn't not like, so in that sense, like, I don't believe that anyone becomes like a true expert. I think that you're always learning and you're always trying to develop like your style and develop your ideas and get better. That being said, I do think that you're only going to get better if you practice. And I know it's such a cliche and a lot of people say this, but like, that's what my mom used to say to me. So I still to this day, like, I'm not very good at drawing. And like my mom is a phenomenal drawer and painter. And every time I would try and I would get in a phase where I'm like, oh, I want to draw something, and I would draw it and it like would look awful, really. It would be so disproportioned and everything. And she'd be like, you need to practice. And she'd give me tips and I'd listen for a little bit and then I get bored and do something else. But now like I have been doing some drawings, and I've been taking like the botanicals class and Get Messy. And so I've been looking, and now that I'm practicing a little bit, and now that I've had a few years of doing it, I realize like, okay, I'm not actually awful at drawing. I can actually give you an example of some kind of stylized, and also like realizing kind of what your style is. Like, I'm not a realistic drawer. I can't do it. I'm not good at it. And yeah, and so I just accepted that. And maybe one day I will, but I'm just not like that. But what I like doing is having lots of colors. So this is actually a travel journal from when I was in Italy. And so here, like, I just did a really quick sketch of the landscape. And so I use like Tombow markers for that. And you can see it's not realistic at all, but you get a sense of what I'm trying to convey. And so just kind of having that kind of just real practicing and realizing kind of what you're good at, what you're not good at, like what you like doing, don't like doing, that kind of, I think, helps you. Like here, like this is just like, I basically just colored. It's not realistic at all. Like, this one's kind of more stylized. That one's a little bit better, but still, like, I mean, and that's okay. Like, really, and just, yeah. So, I mean, it's about, practice and just getting better.
I have so many things to respond to. This is such a wise conversation, Maya. Okay, so everyone in the chat is like freaking out and loves your sketches. And I will say that I was like looking through your feed at for pictures to post to like promote this, and I was noticing your travel sketches are really good. Like they are really, really improving. And they're looking so realistic. Like I think that it's exactly what you were saying is we don't realize how much we are improving the more that we're practicing and the more that we're doing stuff. And so I think that's a huge testament to you to like see those like the difference in your work in just a few short months and how much you are growing. It's like the perfect example. And yeah, everyone in the chat is saying how much they love all of your sketches. And so, but I think that's so good to realize. I think what you said about no one is an expert, I think that is absolutely true and totally debunks that myth of, how am I going to grow? And like, when do I get to that expert point? And, I'm not there yet, so I'm not there at all, but that's not at all what it is. We're all on this like spectrum and we're all growing and we're all in our own journeys, and it's totally fine wherever you are. And so there's no reason to be heading for the expert level because I agree. I don't think there is like an actual expert level, or like there are like three people in the world at that level. So I love that you're okay with like the learning process and the journey of that. Yeah, everyone in this the chat is saying how realism is so overrated. It definitely is. You know, we partnered with Sketchbook School. They were our guest artist a few seasons ago, and you know, Danny is like, I mean, they're all about sketching and drawing, and they are some of like the most recognized authorities on like sketching and drawing, and their stuff is realistic enough that you know what it is, but they're definitely not all about, you know, is it a photo or is it a drawing? Because it's so perfect and so real. So yeah, if you want to like learn more about that, I would definitely check out our post with Sketchbook School and check them out. And just like Mariah was saying, just like keep trying and just keep practicing. I don't know, I get really distracted too, and I struggle to stay on one path for a very long time. So this is kind of like the quick question round before we get to creating. What would you say your 3 tips are for a beginner?
Okay. So one, well, what I kind of just said, practice. Two, don't really think about what other people like think about your art. Just create. And I guess 3 would be experiment with different styles, because that's kind of how you figure out what you like and what your style is by trying out different styles. And so yeah, try painting, try art, or try drawing and brush lettering, whatever it is. And then if you like it, great. If you don't, then you know, like, okay, well, I'm not good at that, or I don't like doing that.
Perfect. What are your favorite supplies?
Probably Tombow markers because they're so versatile. Definitely have to have. I like, my favorite pen is the Artline 200. My favorite. I'll go to. And definitely some ephemera, like magazine. It doesn't matter what it is, just like paper. Just yeah, I like to have paper, and of course you need a glue stick. So.
Oh yes, you can't freeze a glue stick. What is your favorite technique that you use?
I probably use collage the most. Yeah, that's kind of like, that's what I learned first. Actually, when I started art journaling, I learned collage like from my mom, and so I guess that's probably because I've been doing it so long. That's what I feel the most comfortable with.
Do you have any top tips for using collage?
Yeah, so actually, the best thing to keep in mind is what's called the rule of thirds. And so basically, it's that you should keep things in like 3 panels, and also like use odd numbers. So for example, use like 3 images or 5 images, or use like 1 big image and then have like a couple accompanying images. And so that.
Oh, hey, Mariah, you cut out that last little second. Can you say that again?
So basically, so making sure that it like balances out, using like different, like one image, and then using like a couple different like accompanying like images, is.
Oh shoot, you keep cutting out at the very end, but I think we got the gist of that one. Um,
Sorry about
it's
that.
okay. It's okay. We're good now. Um, do you feel like your art reflects your personality?
um, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I never. It's hard to think about. I guess yes, because a lot of times I use art to kind of convey what I'm going through, what my emotions are. Um, So in that sense, yes. And I have a sense of like what I like. Like we did a webinar once where we had.
Oh, Mariah. Hey. Oh, sorry, you cut out again. No, we can't hear you right now. Try again. Okay, I can definitely hear you now.
Okay, sorry. My iTunes is like freaking out and keeps randomly playing, and I don't know why. Um,
It's okay. You said you took a webinar.
Yeah, so I took the webinar on finding your style. And so I realized kind of what my style is, and looking through. And when you go through and you actually look at all your art and realize like, oh, I really like book pages. I really like vintage images. I like bright colors. And so that, I guess, kind of really realizes like.
Oh, Mariah. Sorry, you guys. It's okay. No, we still can't hear you. While Mariah is figuring that out, if you want to take that Find Your Style webinar, it is on the Get Messy blog. If you are a member, just search Find Your Style and you will be able to find that. If you are not a member, it is in your welcome email that when you sign up to be a part of the Get Messy mailing list. So if you like sign up for like the webinar list, you'll get it then too. It comes in that welcome email, and all you have to do is click on the Take the Find Your Style webinar. And it is a really fantastic class. I will give you that. Let's see, Mariah, can we hear you now? Oh, not yet still. Yeah, maybe do you want to unplug your headphones and see if that helps? Oh.
The headphones?
Yes, there we go.
Yes? No? Okay.
Okay, awesome. So you were telling us that looking around at the things that you liked in general in life helped you kind of figure out, and you feel like your art reflects your personality?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. And so looking at kind of, yeah, just, I mean, that's definitely true. It definitely does end up reflecting kind of who you are.
Yeah. And so what are you currently working on right now? You told us you have a secret project.
I think I have about like 20 different projects I'm working on, to be honest. It's quite a lot. Like I have the 30 day one. I've got like the botanicals that I'm going through. So you can kind of see I'm doing some, like, this is Vine and Thistles class. So I'm working through that one. I have my rituals journal. I can show you really quick. So this is kind of what I've been doing for rituals with Vanessa's class. And I have the Season of Story I'm still working on. So this is like handmade using Coptic stitch. And I put in like a bunch of different pages that I really like. So it's not completely, I've been randomly filling it up. So you can kind of see what I've been doing there. It's the cover page. And then I have like my moleskin. Yeah, I have like a bunch of different projects. I like to have a lot of different projects at one time, because otherwise I don't really, like, if I just have to work on one thing, I either like I get stuck, or I just decide like, I don't know, I decide, oh, I don't like what I'm working on if I'm always working on the same thing. So I always need to have like lots of different projects, which is also why I probably take way too many classes, because I kind of need to like always be creating and always thinking about different things.
Yeah, everyone in the chat is saying that they are all working on a ton of different projects at the same time too. So you're not alone. I'm definitely like that. Do you want to pick your favorite art journal and show us a few pages?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so probably that would be the Season of Kindness that I did. So Tiffany actually did a class on big picture classes, and I took that. And so this was kind of inspired by her. So it's about a love letter to myself. And so I made it, so that's why I chose it for the Season of Kindness to work on it. So this is, you'll kind of recognize probably a little bit of Tiffany's style and things from that. And so, yeah, so things about myself. Definitely was all about like self-love and with the hearts. So this one is probably my favorite. I love this one. So this was actually from Sarah's tutorial with the hearts and about like you breaking the hearts and yet like healing. And so right there I wrote, you are stronger than you think, and had like staples to represent like how strong staples are and like metal is. And yeah, and so a lot of these are like tutorials. Trying to think. Oh, and that was my tutorial that I put in there. And yeah, and then of course some butter. I love butterflies, so I wanted to put a butterfly in there. Yeah, so this is probably the best journal, like my favorite journal, especially because it was like such a lot of stuff that I write about or that I make about is like when I'm upset about something. And so this one was really about like I wanted to be positive. I wanted to be reinforcing like the kindness that I wanted to show to myself. And so that's probably why it's my favorite art journal, because yeah, it's just anytime I feel upset or sad, I just kind of look at that and I remember like all the positive messages that I wanted to remember.
Oh, I love that. Everyone in the chat loves it. Michelle is demanding that you show the people page.
Which people? This one?
There's one at the end that's got like your drawings.
Wait, what is it? This one?
That one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That was a tutorial, right? I get messy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And so yeah, this is all the people in my life who have an impact on me. And yeah, and then this has some like ephemera from like different that it's like some people from Get Messy and stuff have given me that I just kind of put in there that I want to remember. So
sweet. Yes, everybody's freaking out about it. You guys, that heart tutorial that Sarah Rondon did on the Get Messy blog is like the most viewed page on our site like ever, besides like the like main page. But like the most viewed tutorial it is, and everyone loves your take on it. It's a really good tutorial. If you're a member of Get Messy, you should go back. Was that last season?
I think that was the first season. It was Season of Kindness. Yeah, because I made this for the Season of Kindness. So yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and I love that a lot of your art journal pages are going through the tutorials and stuff. I just think that they like stretch us and they add so much to our art, and it's like not at all like cheap, like stealing, to like follow someone else's tutorial. Like that's what we're here for, in this community, is to learn from one another. And so I love that you are so inspired by other people and you're creating work along with them. All right. Well, I think that we are ready. Someone had another question for you about, do you make a specific time to work in your art journal? Do you like have an artistic date that you take, or you just create anytime?
So I kind of create anytime, but I tend to create on like Sunday afternoons. And then I also, I started hosting one of the Google Hangouts for Get Messy. Sorry, they're not Google Hangouts anymore. They're Zoom Hangouts. And on Monday evenings, European time. So that is so I guess Sunday, Monday is kind of my art time. And so those are the Monday one I started doing because I wanted to be like, I wanted to have that like, okay, at least once a week I have, like an hour and a half or whatever to create. But other than that, I pretty much, I just like find time whenever, sometimes in the morning, sometimes usually less in the morning because I'm not really a morning person. But usually like at night and stuff, I just find time when I can.
Yes, that is one of the most important things that we always hear people say is you have to like set aside time and like be accountable to that. And so getting into that schedule and that routine of like, I always create on Sundays, or, I always attend a hangout on Mondays. The people who attend those hangouts and the people who do that, like scheduling of their art time, they make, 40 times more artwork than people who just create, randomly whenever. That is a real statistic, you guys, that I have in-depth researched. But I mean, it's totally true. Like you know that there are, that's what Jessica's saying. The hangouts are awesome for carving out time. They really, really are. So if you guys are a member of Get Messy and you have not come to a hangout, please find one that works for your schedule and like set out to be there. Even if you don't talk or do anything, create like every week, use that hour as your creative time, and it will be really, really helpful. And speaking of creative time, I think we are ready to start making stuff. So, Mariah, if you'll run through the list of supplies that we need again, everyone, let's get our art stuff out and make something.
Okay. So you're gonna need some paint. I recommend you use your favorite color, a color that you are drawn to today. I love like turquoise, so I'm gonna use turquoise. Of course, you'll need your art journal. I'm using Moleskine cashier. I never know how to pronounce it. And you'll need either like some kind of credit card, or you can use a palette knife if you want. We'll also need some papers. So some book papers, and you can also use some like music sheets if you prefer, and some images that you were drawn to in your magazine. It doesn't have to be a magazine per se, but just like some kind of images that you're drawn to. And then a pen, and if you want to, you can just use a pen, or if you have Tombow markers or want to use like Posca pens for like details later, you can use this as well, but that's totally up to you. So, and you'll need a glue stick, which I just realized I don't actually have a glue stick with me right now. So I'll get you guys started on the first step, and then I'll run out really quick while we wait for our stuff to dry, and I'll grab a glue stick really quick.
Perfect.
So the first thing we're gonna do is, so this is like my favorite technique because it's really, really easy, is you're gonna take your paint. You don't even need to like put it on anything. Take your credit card, just put some paint on it, like that. And you just put it on your art journal, like that. And then you just cover as much page as you want. And you can completely cover it. You can use some white. There's no need to like gesso the pages really, because the paint is like usually pretty thin when you do this. So I'm not the only, this isn't necessarily my technique. Like I learned this, I don't remember who I learned this from. There's like so many people who use this technique, but it's just like, it's like the easiest technique, and it's like not that messy, so.
Okay, so yes, you should host a hangout if there's not one in your time zone. Yes, we should all watch Find Your Style and add it to the long list of things we want to do. And are you adding paint to your main page or the book page?
So I'm doing it on the main page of the journal. So that's my completed page right there. Like I said, I like to keep some white space, but you can completely cover it if you want. It's totally up to you and what like your style is. So as everyone does that and waits for it to dry a little bit, I'm actually going to go grab a glue stick really quick.
Awesome. Here, I will show you my take. So I made this page yesterday for the 30 days of art journaling challenge with Creative Bug. And so this is my adjoining page. And so I wanted to like make it match. So I added some yellow there with my credit card. And I like that you can see my little watercolor dots are still showing through it. So what color are you guys using? And if you want to join a hangout, if you go to Facebook and the Get Messy Facebook group and you go to events on the left-hand side, it will have all of I almost think there's a hangout almost every single day of the week that you can join. So you can join one that's there, or you can create your own and create it and add it in that list of events so that people can join you. All right, Mariah, ready.
Great. So now we're going to basically just take your paper and just going to rip it up Yeah, just rip it up into different squares or long, short, whatever you feel like doing. And we're gonna eventually glue them on the piece on, but just get a bunch of little squares. And I'm gonna do a combination of like small squares and like long pieces. And it doesn't necessarily have to, yeah, it just, and then you can also use there if you have like other types of, it doesn't necessarily have to be a book, but if you have like, you know, like you can do that. Yeah. Yeah.
I love how actual little control you have when you rip book pages, when you rip things. It's a perfect art journaling exercise.
And so then when you're done, you're just gonna glue them on. My page is pretty much dry, but if you need some more time to let it dry, that's okay. I tend to also like, if my pages aren't completely dry, I still just glue stuff on because I don't care.
Me too.
But yeah, so just randomly put them on. It doesn't matter where they go, just whatever you can use, just lots of small squares. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the long strips and I'm gonna glue them down. And whatever you feel like doing. I think I'm actually, so this is what I said when I say I just randomly glue stuff down, like that's usually what I do. But I don't know what to do. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, just tear it up, glue it down, see what happens.
Yes, I love the unpredictability of these kind of pages, especially when you follow recipes from people because you don't actually know what's coming next. You just have to trust in your creative intuition.
So that is my page.
Yes.
Right there. So I use a combination of the long ones and then some, like the squares. And you can do either. You can cover the entire page if you want. Whatever you feel like doing.
Here, I'll show you mine. All right, so these are my book pages glued down.
And so now is what this is actually the most difficult part for me. And that's because you're going to choose an image. And so I actually looked at a few images that I liked and I was going to try and choose one. But then I was like, oh, but I like this one and I like that one. Yeah, so look at your collection of images that you have, magazine images, or if you have like a copyright-free image or like black and white image, or even a like photograph of you or someone, you can use that. And just you're gonna pick whichever is your favorite, cut it out, and then we're gonna glue it in the page. So I really like this image, but I also feel like this image will go better with the blue. So I'm just kind of messy. I'm just kind of looking at it and trying to decide if I think the green and the red clash too much with the blue, or if I should stick with like just a blue. So that's kind of like the type of like design I think about is color and how do colors like work together. So that's something I often do when I don't know what to do. I'll look at colors and look like, oh, does that look good? Do those colors match? And sometimes if they don't match, that's good too. So it just kind of depends on your mood and what you're into. Yeah, for this one, I think I'm going to use this blue lady here.
Do you guys, Mariah, do you, and does everyone on the chat, do you store your stuff specifically, or is it just in a giant pile?
So it's a bit of both. Because I do have like a specific like I have like a binder that I put all my images in, and like I go through images and I like sort them out quite frequently. But then when I'm working on like specific projects, or sometimes I'm just too busy to organize, and they're like end up just like in a pile on my desk. And so I'll just work from like the same stash and like the same kit of stuff for like months until I have time to like go through and like, yeah, like get new stuff. So yeah, so it kind of depends. I have like, I feel like I'm always trying to figure out like how I want to organize stuff. It's like a constant struggle to decide like, should I use a bin? Should I use envelopes? Should I use this? Let's try that method. And like, I'm yeah, it's constant struggle.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It is. Yeah. Courtney says she always thinks she's prepared, but then it becomes like the get messy supermarket sweep around her apartment. And that is exactly, I feel like everything in my house is fair game once I start creating. All right, here's my little lady. Oh, there she is. She's got a weird, like, maybe some kind of dead ostrich or something in her hand.
Hmm.
Not quite sure what that is, but I'm very excited to use it.
And I'm going to use this girl. Originally I was thinking about cutting her, but then I realized it would look weird because that, I guess it's like, I don't know, there's like a guy's arm. So I decided I liked how it looks. So yeah, so the next step, you're just gonna glue it down somewhere in your art journal, wherever you think it looks best.
And remember Mariah's tip from earlier is to use your rule of thirds.
Or don't, because you know rules are meant to be broken.
That's right. But please do. Yeah, so some people are saying that they yes, they separate their like art journal ephemera into different categories. Someone posted on Facebook the other day and they were like, I have all the like words that I have picked out like from magazines, and I have like a, you know, an envelope full of words too, and like phrases and titles and stuff that I've put out in magazines. But she was like, is it too far to organize them by like nouns and verbs and things like that? And we were like, you go for it, girl. You organize to your heart's content.
Yeah, I try and organize images by category as well. Like I do like people, animals, landscapes, and then kind of like random or like objects or just like things that don't fit into a specific category. And yeah, because that really helps. Just knowing like I want an image of a person or I need a landscape image, and just knowing like that's what the landscape images are. So if anything, I do think it's good to like be kind of organized in that sense. But I mean, everyone has their own way of doing things. So
exactly.
So that is my image right there. I put it on the side because this like line right here, so it kind of like goes on the other side. Otherwise, I would have like put it more probably towards the middle, but I kind of like how it is like that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it definitely looks like it fits like it's supposed to be there. This is, I got my lady's just kind of floating. I need to anchor her, but we'll see what the next step is.
Great. So the next thing you're gonna do is basically you're gonna think of either your favorite expression or your favorite quote or whatever it is that you need to know right now, and you're gonna write it down. So you can think about like something like, I don't know, if you just want to think about today, like your goal for the rest of the day or the week, or if you read something recently, like a quote you really like. And sometimes it helps to write things down before, like not on your paper, but like if you think of something and you're like, oh, that might be cool, but if you like actually write it down first, sometimes that helps you get the idea of like, one, to make sure you spelled it right, because definitely misspelled things before, and also just to make sure like it will fit on your page. And then if you see it written, I feel like sometimes in your own handwriting, I feel like that helps me decide like if I actually want to use that or if I want to like change it up a bit.
Is this our last step, Mariah, or do we have one more?
One more after this.
I'm going to cheat and use those phrases that I was just telling you about. Like I said, I just have like a pile of them. I just like will go through a magazine. And so what I'll do is like when I'm tired of like having the magazine sitting around, I'll go through and I'll like rip out like full page images I think I might want to use as backgrounds. I'll pull out like any people that I want to use or any like objects and things. And then I'll cut out phrases and stuff that I like that I think would work well on a page, or any just like good bold words. And then I'll like, exhaust the magazine and then toss it, and then organize it in my ephemera stash. And so I am using one of those for my quote.
And so for me, I like to use my own handwriting. So, because I just, yeah. So I decided to use a Tombow marker, and I went with the expression, I don't care what the world thinks. And so you can kind of see there. And looking back, actually, I should have probably like moved it up a bit more because it's kind of like scrunched down at the middle. But like I said, nothing's perfect and we'll make mistakes. So it's all good. So I guess I'll move on to the next step, if that's okay, or should I repeat that? Okay. So the final step is to kind of try and like tie it all together. Is basically you're gonna take you can take a pen, Posca marker, Tombow, whatever you want. You can use paint if you want, and you're basically just kind of like doodle and kind of especially like around the image and kind of tie it in with the page. So I'm going to use a Posca marker, I think.
Oh, Jessica asked, does anybody else have a hard time finding images that fit what you're working on? What do you do? How do you figure that out?
Um, so yeah, sometimes I do. Well, I don't know. I guess. I guess one thing to do is like if you have a printer at home, you can like find something in like the free image library and print it out. I don't have a printer though, so that's not really an option for me. So often like I just like look through my stash and if I can't find an image, like I don't know, I just try and like be creative with it. And sometimes I might alter the image, I might add other things. Like I don't know if like sometimes I just go with it and I just for example, sometimes like I'll have an image and I'll be like, oh, this is a great image, except like half her head is cut off or something, or like I don't know, you know how like in magazine images there's like the head and it's really great and then it's just like that and you're like, but I want the whole head. Like so one way to do that is like having her like have flowers or something else pop out of her head or something. So yeah, just trying to be creative because like unfortunately, yeah, that does happen where you're like looking for an image and you're like nothing is like just doesn't look great. So you just kind of unfortunately, unless you have a printer at home and are able to print yourself, like you just kind of have to like be creative. And yeah, I guess it's in one way you can just kind of look at it as that like that's a challenge and part of the process as well. So
Yeah, I would think that would be my suggestion too. I mean, you want to say like have a wide variety in your stash, but I don't want you to hoard things. And then, but yeah, like but I think I did this recently. I realized that I didn't have a lot of people to use my images. I tend to collect travel magazines and travel stuff. So I have a lot of like ocean scenes and mountain scenes, and I use those in my work a lot, but I realized I didn't have people. So I like went specifically looking for like magazines of just models and just a bunch of people, and it really really helped my art so much when I realized I was missing that specific thing, and then like sought it out and was able to find what I needed.
so this is I think I'm done. My completed image. So basically because like she has some like kind of burgundy pink, I took a pink Posca pen and I just kind of made some random marks and like dots and stuff to kind of like tie it in together. Because one thing that happens, I find like when you have a magazine image is it can just look like it's like just pasted there and it doesn't like fit. You're just like, okay, cool, but like why? Like what does this mean? So if you use like marks like Posca pens or just like even just like a marker or like a black pen, you can really and you put some marks, you can really kind of like tie it in with the rest of the page. Um,
Yeah, that is a great tip. Here I will show you my finished page. Um, yeah, so I mean, I kind of did the same thing, trying to like use my marks to help make all of this feel more grounded because I felt like it was a little floaty. Um, yeah, you guys, I'm like really trying to work these like little rainbow arches into my artwork, but I don't think they're my thing. I just don't like them, and I struggle to like. I like them on other people's stuff, but I just don't feel like they're gonna be my thing. Um, and that's fine. But yeah, so that's my finished page. So we want to see your finished pages. Make sure that you share them using the Get Messy Art Journal hashtag and Get Messy Webinar. And I'm like, I need to look that up. I'm pretty sure that that's a hashtag, or we can start it. Get Messy Webinars. I think it's a thing, you guys. All right, Mariah, do you have any last closing wisdom to share with us?
just don't think about do what my art journal page says, and don't think about what the world thinks. Don't think about what Instagram thinks, and just create for you.
I love it. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Mariah, and thank you everyone for being here. Like I said, if you're on that email list that's linked below in the YouTube comments, you will get the replay emailed to you and all of the other good Get Messy information. And yeah, so we hope to see you. We have another webinar coming up on I believe, the 18th with Julie Marriott, and that's going to be a fun one too. So we hope to see you guys around. And there's going to be, I know there's lots of stuff we talked about, but if you're a Get Messy member, just search the website or search Facebook and you will find it all. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we will see you later.
Bye.